You spent $400 on freeze-dried meals, nitrogen-sealed buckets, 2,500 calories a day. You did everything the prepper industry told you to do. And in a real 90-day grid-down scenario, you would still die. Not from starvation, not from dehydration. You'd die from something embarrassingly preventable. Something a Mongol warrior figured out 800 years ago on the back of a horse, eating nothing but dried meat and fermented milk. I'm going to show you the exact science behind why your current food stockpile has a biological kill switch built into it. And then I'm going to show you the dead simple, dirt cheap fix the Mongols already worked out for you. This is not a history lesson. This is an autopsy of your prep plan, the 30-day cost reality. Let's start with the money, because that's where this gets ugly for the modern prepper. A 30-day supply of commercial freeze-dried survival food, your Mountain House, your Wise Company, your ReadyWise buckets, runs between $300 and $450 per person at current retail. That gets you roughly 2,000 to 2,500 calories per day, primarily from carbohydrates with moderate protein and minimal fat. Now here's what the Mongol diet costs to replicate in raw materials today. Borts, traditional sun-dried Mongol beef, can be made at home from bottom round at roughly $4.50 per pound. Drying reduces weight by about 75%, which means 1 pound of finished borts represents 4 pounds of raw beef. A single pound of borts delivers approximately 1,600 calories of dense protein. For a 30-day supply at a warrior level 3,000 calories per day from meat alone, you need roughly 56 pounds of finished borts, a raw material cost of around $100 if you process it yourself. That's the headline number the internet keeps sharing. 60 bucks, $100. The Mongol diet wins. Except that number will kill you, and here's exactly why. The biological kill switch. Rabbit starvation. The human liver has a hard ceiling on how much protein it can safely convert to usable energy per day. That ceiling is approximately 35% of your total caloric intake, or roughly 250 to 300 grams of protein per day in a large adult male. Beyond that threshold, your body cannot excrete the resulting ammonia and urea fast enough. The buildup is toxic, and it compounds daily. The clinical term is hyperammonemia. The folk term, coined by 18th century fur trappers who learned this lesson the hard way, is rabbit starvation. You can eat until you're physically stuffed, and you will still starve to death, because lean protein without fat provides no usable energy the body can actually sustain itself on. The timeline on this is faster than most people expect. Early symptoms, nausea, headache, relentless hunger despite eating, begin within 2 to 3 weeks of a strictly lean protein diet. By week 6, you're looking at serious organ stress. In a survival scenario where you're also exerting physical energy, the timeline compresses further. Now here's the critical problem with sun-dried borts specifically. The drying process that makes the meat shelf-stable for years also strips it of virtually all of its fat content. Fat goes rancid. Fat is what you remove when you want a product that lasts. The resulting borts is almost entirely lean protein, which means if your bug-out plan is, "I'll just eat borts," you've built a very expensive, historically accurate path to protein poisoning. The second kill, scurvy. The protein problem is problem 1. Problem 2 is vitamin C, and it's almost worse because the timeline is deceptively comfortable at first. Fresh meat contains trace amounts of vitamin C. Not a lot, but enough. The problem is that vitamin C is an unstable molecule. UV exposure destroys it, heat destroys it, and the sun-drying process that creates borts subjects the meat to extended UV exposure over days, which degrades whatever vitamin C was present in the raw beef down to negligible levels. The human body cannot synthesize vitamin C. You consume it or you run out, and your stored reserves only last so long. Clinical scurvy onset typically begins between 30 and 90 days of vitamin C deprivation. The first symptoms are fatigue and joint pain. Within months, collagen synthesis fails, which means your blood vessels start to break down. Old wounds literally reopen, your gums hemorrhage, and your teeth loosen. You become physically incapable of sustained effort. In a survival scenario, scurvy doesn't just make you miserable, it makes you combat ineffective and eventually kills you. So now you've got two independent biological time bombs built into the pure Bort's diet: protein poisoning on a 6-week fuse, scurvy on a 30 to 90-day fuse. The Mongols clearly didn't die from either, which means they solved this problem. And the solution is exactly what most preppers completely overlook: how the Mongols actually did it. The Mongols didn't just eat Borts. They ate Borts as part of a two-component system that solved both problems simultaneously. Component 1, animal fat, specifically rendered tallow and suet from the same animals they were drying. Mongol warriors on campaign carried fat separately, packed hard, shelf-stable, calorie-dense. They mixed it directly into the Borts when eating, rehydrating the dried meat with hot water or broth and combining it with the fat to hit their caloric targets. The math on this is straightforward. A single gram of fat contains 9 calories. A single gram of protein contains 4. To hit 3,000 calories per day with a safe protein ceiling of around 250 grams, that's 1,000 calories from protein, you need another 2,000 calories from fat. That requires approximately 220 grams of fat per day, roughly half a pound of rendered tallow consumed daily. That fat combination is what prevents protein poisoning. The body has usable fuel from fat, so it doesn't have to run toxic protein-only metabolism. Component 2, kumis, fermented mare's milk. This is where the scurvy problem gets solved in a way that almost nobody talks about. Fermented dairy, specifically the lactic acid fermentation process, produces vitamin C as a byproduct. Fresh mare's milk contains about 20 milligrams of vitamin C per 100 milliliters. After fermentation, certain studies suggest that value increases due to microbial synthesis. The recommended daily minimum to prevent scurvy is just 10 milligrams. A Mongol warrior drinking moderate amounts of kumis daily was hitting that threshold through fermentation alone. 2 components, 2 problems solved. The Mongols didn't stumble into this by accident. This was a food system refined over generations of mobile warfare, where every deadweight item got eliminated and every caloric variable got optimized. The modern what-if protocol: build your own. So here's what this actually looks like if you're building a modern version of the Mongol survival diet today. 3 components, specific ratios, real shelf lives, real costs. Component 1, the protein base, Borts or equivalent. Home-processed sun-dried Borts from bottom round, $4.50 per pound raw, yields roughly 0.25 pounds finished Borts per pound of beef. Shelf life when vacuum sealed and kept cool, 2 to 5 years. Caloric density approximately 1,600 calories per pound of finished product. Commercial alternative, high-quality beef jerky, though fat content varies and most commercial jerky uses sugar-heavy marinades that add unnecessary carbs. Component 2, the fat, rendered beef tallow. This is the most overlooked item in every prepper pantry. Rendered beef tallow costs approximately $6 to $10 per pound when purchased commercially. Shelf life when properly rendered and stored in sealed containers away from light, 1 to 2 years at room temperature, infinitely when refrigerated or frozen. Caloric density, 3,500 calories per pound, the highest caloric density of any shelf-stable food you can stockpile. Ghee, clarified butter, is a viable alternative at similar caloric density with a slightly shorter shelf life but wider commercial availability. The ratio you need: for every pound of lean Borts you plan to consume per day, you need to pair it with roughly 0.3 to 0.4 pounds of rendered fat. This gets you to the 3,000 plus daily calorie target while keeping protein below the toxic threshold. Component 3, the vitamin C fix, fermented dairy or supplementation. You have 2 modern options here. Option 1 is supplementation. A 500-tablet bottle of vitamin C costs about $12 and provides a 500-day supply at 1,000 milligrams per day, far above the scurvy prevention threshold. Shelf life, 2 years minimum. This is the simplest modern solution and takes up virtually no space. Option 2 is living ferments, homemade kefir from shelf-stable kefir grains, which you can rehydrate and culture from powdered or shelf-stable milk.
This replicates the humus function, provides vitamin C through fermentation, adds probiotics, and is highly calorie-dense, more complex to maintain in a grid-down scenario, but superior nutritionally. The 90-day stockpile math. Per person. Bortz, protein base, 56 pounds finished product, roughly $250 in raw beef processed at home, or $350 to $400 purchased as commercial jerky. Rendered beef tallow, 25 pounds, approximately $150 to $200 purchased commercially, or $40 to $60 if rendering at home from beef fat bought from a butcher. Vitamin C supplementation, 1 bottle, approximately $12. Total 90-day Mongol protocol cost, home processed, roughly $300 to $320 per person. That's 3 months of nutritionally complete survival food, not just calories, but the fat and micronutrient balance needed to actually survive. And the storage footprint is a fraction of the size. The Mongols built an empire that covered more contiguous land than any civilization in history. They did it while traveling light, moving fast, and solving every supply chain problem with food technology that fit in a saddlebag. You don't need a mountain of expensive freeze-dried buckets. You need to understand the 3 biological variables: protein ceiling, dietary fat, and vitamin C, and build a stockpile that actually addresses all 3. Next video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to render and store beef tallow at home, including the mistakes that lead to rancidity and how to test your stored fat before you depend on it in an emergency, because the fat component is the one that most people get wrong. If this changed how you think about your prep, hit subscribe and drop a comment. Tell me what's currently sitting in your food storage that you're now reconsidering. I read every one.